Welcome back to COMR 103 Speaking and Listening, Chapter 16. Today we're going to be discussing cultural considerations, and this chapter is really going to be beneficial for you as you prepare for your cultural artifact speech this week. All right, first of all, let's take a look at the word culture. It actually comes from the word kolir, meaning to inhabit or to cultivate or to protect, basically. You've heard the word before, and you've probably applied it to your own world, is what culture do you come from? When I think of the word culture, I think of where was I born, where was I raised? I was raised in the Northeast, in the great state of Maine. I'm actually French-Canadian, but I'm also Roman Catholic, so I kind of look at those two particular issues as part of my culture, the way I was raised. Now, the chapter goes in and he breaks up the culture into several categories, and there's a couple of them here listed on this slide. The first one I want to talk about is the business and professional culture. When you go to work each and every day, you actually enter a whole different culture. When you interact with folks at work or with your customers, basically you are in a business culture or a professional culture, as it says here. So keep that in mind as you progress through this particular chapter, because there are different categories, and we'll also be talking about how to deal with other cultures as it relates to public speaking and as life itself. The second one that I also wanted to discuss was popular culture. Popular culture is kind of interesting because you think about, well, what is popular at the time? One of the examples that the chapter uses is music, a very simple category, but if you listen to rock and roll, then you probably tend to gravitate towards people who listen to rock and roll, and that's its own culture. Country and Western has its own culture, and people usually gravitate towards each other. It could be rap, it could be Latino music, it could be anything, but music actually drives culture is what it boils down to. Then the chapter kind of switches gears a little bit and talks about suggestions of increasing your cultural awareness. And the first one that they talk about here on the slide is don't make assumptions. Okay, you don't want to assume a certain thing about a certain person just because they are from a certain culture. The way you take care of that is very simply go up to them, ask them questions, find out a little bit about their culture. Maybe it'll make you a little bit smarter learning about somebody else's culture, and it could be somebody from Iran. It could be somebody from Canada. It could be somebody from Japan. So just go ask questions. Don't assume that you think that you know a little bit about their culture just based on what you've heard. So go ask some questions. The next one that they talk about also is to seek an involvement in foreign culture. So I mentioned a little bit earlier, it is very beneficial for you if you can expand your horizons by visiting different countries. I was very fortunate throughout my career that I was in the military for 24 years. So I was able to really travel the world. I was stationed in the Far East. I was stationed over Europe. I was stationed also in the Mediterranean area. I got a chance to go to Afghanistan and Iraq. Didn't really want to go there, but the military gave me no option. But it was really beneficial to me to expand my horizons on foreign cultures. The chapter then wraps it up at the end by talking about two key words, one of them called socialization and one of them called privilege. Socialization basically is making yourself learn how to do something within a culture, basically is what it boils down to. Interacting with a society. It's very beneficial, especially if you're in the workforce, that you are able to socialize with people from different cultures. And then the last term is privilege. You have to be careful with this one. This one has a negative connotation sometimes when you compare one culture to another, and they say, "Oh, what are you, more privileged than us?" So be careful about that particular word and that particular term when you associate it with the term culture. All right, hopefully you've learned a few golden nuggets, as I call them, here in Chapter 16, and hopefully you'll be able to utilize some of this information in your cultural artifact speech this week. All right, so I enjoyed our time together, and I'll see you on our next video.